Hey, hello everyone. Welcome again to another LazyArquitecto live stream where we teach you AutoCAD in a way that is more productive so you can stop wasting your time. As always, we show up here each Friday at 10 a.m. Today we're showing up a little early, 30 minutes early here in Pennsylvania in the United States, just because I had to do some personal stuff early today. So yeah, my name is Irving. If you don't know me, I'm a certified AutoCAD professional. I show up here with this live stream again to bring you a new AutoCAD task. So if your time is important, consider joining us, subscribing, joining our community, and so on. All right. So we're gonna have an awesome presentation today. So before that, let me jump to the chat and say hi to Kumar. Hey, Kumar. Says, good morning, Master Sir. Hey, happy to see you around, Kumar. We missed you last week. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. Hope you are doing great, Kumar. So let me start preparing right away for today's presentation. Let's see over here. Okay. As always, we're gonna have a moment to ask questions, to do some Q&A by the end of the presentation. So since we are live, that's an advantage to you to ask your questions and get answers in real time. That's the beauty of doing a live stream. Okay, so let me, okay. How do we do this? Let me see. Okay. So in order to demonstrate today's lesson, we're gonna need a dynamic block. Again, we are still in the preparation stage, so I'm not gonna explain anything or everything here. So instead of recreating a block, I'm just gonna get one from our Patreon page. Here is where we shared all of our blocks, macros, and so on. So under collections, so I'm gonna quickly download a dynamic block that I need for this lesson, and it's this one right here. So I'm gonna quickly download it from the attachments. All right, great. So now that I have the block, I'm just gonna open it up. So it's this block right here. Now this was an interesting block we created, I believe last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, but you know, it has the feature where you can rotate the grip and the text or attribute will keep horizontal all the time. As you can see, even if we rotate it maybe 45 degrees, the text or the attribute, it's still horizontal. Now, this is again an efficient way to add your blocks, but we're gonna see a couple of problems with this block. So that's where I wanna bring this up. Oops, what I just did. Okay, so now that I have this block, I'm gonna copy with Control-C and bring it into my AutoCAD environment with Control-V, like so. I'm gonna close this because I don't need that. Again, we're still in the preparation phase. Don't worry, that's why I'm not explaining everything here. But we're just getting ready for the presentation. So let me see, how do we do this? So let me first change the scale of the block to match my viewport. Okay, let me move this over here. Okay. All right, I think I'm ready. Okay, let's jump to the presentation. As always, you can ask your questions or stop me at any moment if you have questions. So that's the beauty of doing a live stream again. So we're ready to start, and let's do this, guys. So on my screen, I have a reflective ceiling plan that I need to add my exit lights. I have a dynamic block over here that we have created on the channel that it's nice because I can simply copy this block with Control-C or with CO and copy and start populating or adding my exit lights, and I have this grip where I can rotate it and my text will keep horizontal all the time, which is nice. The problem is that we 99% of the time don't add our blocks by copying. We most likely add it from an insertion, either from our tool palette, from our ribbon, from our block library, and we inserted it that way. And that's the most efficient way also, not just copying with Control-C, Control-V, and then place it there, and then you have to rotate it, locate it nicely. Nope. So again, 99% of the time, AutoCAD users like me, like you, will insert this block instead of copying around. So that's why today's lesson, let me show you one way of doing it efficiently. There are a couple of ways that I use, but today we're only going to have time to show you one. Okay? Now, in order to efficiently insert our block and always have our attributes or text horizontal while inserting it, which is again a challenging task, we're gonna use a custom command or macro. Okay, so there are multiple ways to create commands in AutoCAD. One is using our tool palette. We have created hundreds of macros also on the channel. Another way is using the command macros palette, which is right here. This is not brand new, but almost brand new palette, specifically to create custom commands, or also called macros. So the third way is by utilizing the ribbon. As you can see here on my ribbon, we also have created in the channel a lot of commands or macros, as you can see. So we're going to utilize the ribbon for this for today's presentation. So to access the ribbon, I'm going to open the CUI or Customize User Interface. So over here, what I like to do is, instead of starting from scratch, which if you know me already, I don't like to waste time at all starting from scratch, I'm going to reuse this panel over here, the wall tags panel that I created before, to create my new command so that I don't waste time. So to find that panel, you can also utilize any other panel from the home, from the insert, annotate, and so on, but I'm going to use this wall tags panel. So let's expand the ribbon. we can find tabs on the ribbon, which are these over here: Home, Insert, LazyArquitecto. We have already created our own tab, which is, you can do that by right clicking and say new tab. Since we already did that, I'm not gonna do that. But the panels are right here, which again are the wall tag panel, auto numbering panel, and so on. So I'm gonna expand the panels because we already created this. And again, you can right click on the panel and say create new panel also, the same way we did for the tags, for the tabs. But I'm gonna find the wall tags, which is right here. I'm gonna right click and duplicate it. Again, because we don't want to waste time. So now that we have that, let me expand that out. And it's right here. So I'm gonna do a couple of things. First, I'm gonna change the name, of course. Maybe we can say here blocks or insert. I don't know. For now, I'm just gonna say insert block. And then I'm gonna copy the same name over here with Control V, like so. Okay. So of course, I'll need I'm gonna apply to save the changes. And now, a good practice when creating new commands or modifying the ribbon and so on is to always do it in small steps. Otherwise, you're gonna make a lot of changes and then realize that none of them were actually done on your ribbon. So I'm gonna click OK for now, see what we did so far. And let's see. As you can see, nothing was done yet. That's why I mentioned what I just said, which is about working in small steps. So let me jump on the chat first, because we have a comment, so we can continue. And it's our friend Joe Tolaparo. Hey, did you give us your real name? I forgot already. Sorry if you gave me your name already. It's because you don't show up. You missed a couple of our live streams. Yo Toy Loparo says, si tuviera tiempo, entraría ahorita a ver lo que haces. Está bueno todo lo que haces. John es mi nombre. Oh, oh, for people who don't know, again, so I am in the US right now. However, I'm originally from Peru in South America. So that's why I speak Spanish. That's my first language. But anyway, John says, está bueno lo que haces. Hey, John, happy, feliz de escuchar eso. So yeah, you should join us. Deberías unirte más seguido. John, espero que estés muy bien, John. Como hacen otra gente es agarran su celular en el trabajo y están viendo el en vivo y trabajando. What I just said, John, was that some people, they are in the office, right, because it's Friday, but they are joining the live stream on their phone and just putting their phone there and, you know, work at the same time and improve their knowledge, you know, because all of these tasks that I share is basically real-time tasks that you are gonna have in AutoCAD in whatever job you do. In my case, I'm using architecture drawings, but once you understand the technique, you can apply it for your drawings. Electrician, I don't know, MEP, whatever you do, civil, it's just the same idea. In this case, I'm going to use an exit light for an architecture drawing, but I'm sure you might have, for your electric plants, you might have, I don't know, circuits or something that you need to also rotate with attributes. So again, the same technique, just different block. But John says trabajando todo el día. Yeah, John. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. John and Kumar and other folks that are there live with us that I cannot see, because again, the only way to know you are in the live stream is if you say hi to me. Otherwise, I don't know if you are there. But anyway, let's keep moving. Okay. So we copied a panel over here that's supposed to show up, but it's not showing up. So let's go back to the CUI. And let's go back and expand the ribbon. Panels, let's find the insert block panel that we have created. So let's see. So the reason why it's not showing up in our ribbon yet is because we have not added it to our LazyArquitecto tab. That's the reason. So all we gotta do is first find our tab under the tabs. So let me expand that and let's find the LazyArquitecto tab, which should be around here. Oops. Right here, LazyArquitecto. Okay, so let's add or click and drag and drop it there. So insert block, let me click and move it all the way up. Here we go, LazyArquitecto. Let me drop it right there. And you can see it's showing now over there. So let's apply and check. And here we go. Finally, it's showing up. Awesome, right? So insert block, but it says text. That's not right. So let's start tweaking this now. What I like to do is change this panel name to only blocks, similar to the over here, the blocks. So panel. So and then I'm gonna also change the other one to insert. So let's go back again. The command name, instead of text, I'm gonna change it to insert, and here I'm gonna call it block or blocks. So let's go back to the CUI and try to do those two small changes before we go ahead and create the command or the custom command. So panels, insert block. Let's see. So instead of insert block, I'm gonna say block. Hit apply. So I will change the name of the panel. Now for this text, I'm gonna click and or double click, and it will expand the block panel over here, and you can see the text is highlighted. So that's why we don't need that. So let me go ahead and change that to insert. That's what we said. Insert. Hit apply. And even though it's not showing the update over here, let me see if I double click. Here we go. So to update, kind of see the update, you need to somehow reset it by double clicking on the panel, and you can see now that the insert option is showing up. Okay, so let's quickly hit OK to see the changes before we keep moving. And here you have it, block panel insert command. Now of course we need to now add or create our commands. In this case it's showing still the wall tags that we created before, again, to insert wall tags with predetermined numbers. Let's say A will insert wall tag A all the time, continuously, and so on. But anyway, so we're ready to create our custom command over here under the insert and block panel. So let's go back to the CUI. Here you go. Okay, so to create a command, we need to create or click the star icon to create a brand new tool or command. We can name it. In this case, would be exit light, because we'll be adding exit lights. Again, that's all up to you. We can add an icon for our exit light. You can find also online many icons that you can get, but just for this purpose, I am gonna pick a random one. So I'm gonna pick that one for now. I'm gonna hit apply, and I'm gonna go ahead and expand the ribbon, find the panel block, and in this case I am gonna expand row 1, and you can see we have wall tag 1, 2, and 3, so we don't need those. So what I'm gonna do is find over here on the command list the exit light command that we just created, and we're gonna click and drag it on top of wall 1 like so. Now I don't need any of these commands, but I'm just gonna erase wall 1 and remove it. I'm gonna leave the other two just because we are planning in the future to keep adding blocks that we need to insert with attributes, and that we need to automatically keep the text horizontal while inserting. So that's why I'm gonna leave those two there. Okay, so I'm gonna hit apply, and of course we need to go back and add or modify the macro for this exit light command, but for now, since we did a lot, I'm gonna hit OK and see the changes. All right, let's go back. We see a difference here. The icon has changed. Now, I think I made a mistake here, because I didn't want to pick the exit light icon for the insert command. That's not right. I want to pick a different image for the insert option. So let me change that. But the other good thing is that the exit light is showing out right there now, which is great. Now, of course, if we use that, nothing happens because again, we have not added our macro code to this command. Okay, so let's add the macro code to our command and change that image. Let's go back to the ribbon, panels, and blocks, insert, so for the insert, we have a comment on the chat, so let me see who's Rushikesh is on the chat. Hi Rushikesh, I think you're new to the live stream. I don't remember seeing you before, but if that's the case, welcome aboard. We are here each Friday live at 10 a.m. Today again we are 30 minutes early because I have to do some personal stuff, but most of the time at 10 a.m. And also, if you want to know specifically when are we going live, at what time. Basically, if you want to be in touch with us, with me, you can join our Patreon. It's also free or paid if you want, but that's where I send out updates. If, let's say, I'm sick, I'm not showing up, or if I have something special, that's where I share everything. All right. It says one tutorial on YQArch commands. Yeah, I mean, I try. For people who don't know, YQArch is it's like a plugin for AutoCAD that has a lot of tools and commands also. And I have tried them myself just so I can show it to you guys and maybe do a live stream, but I'm not there yet. I still need to play more with it, see if what useful things I need to show it to you. One big problem that I had with that plugin is the units. So since it was created with a different units, I believe metric units, and when you use it here in the US in Imperial, it's a mess. Like, everything is different scales, your blocks come in different weird sizes. I still again need to play more with it and try to figure it out before I do something for you about it. So yeah, I'm working on it, Rashikesh, and yeah, so once I figure that out, and so I can, do a live stream with you guys about YQArch commands. But stay tuned for that, my friend. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is find my exit light command. In your case, might be a different block, right? You'll adjust it per your needs, but the important part is the technique here that we're gonna use. So let's expand our macro section to have this dialog box over here. That's where we're gonna add our command. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that CC because that's a way to cancel or use the escape key a couple of times in your keyboard. That's a good practice when doing macros or creating commands. And I'm gonna use this command called insert. So everyone knows the insert command, right? I'll press enter to accept that. Everyone knows the insert command. The only difference is I'm using the command line version, which is it's gonna avoid those windows or dialog boxes that will show up. So that's why I'm using this character to run everything on the command line. And that's what we always try to do when creating macros. So once we use the insert command, it's gonna ask for the name of the block that we want to insert, right? In this case, I know the name of my block is lazy exit light, and I'm gonna press enter to accept that. Now, then after that, AutoCAD is gonna ask again to specify the insertion point. So to give me a pause to click on the screen, I'm gonna do that with this / character. Okay, so after that, AutoCAD is gonna ask for the scale of the block. I'm gonna accept with enter for now for the scale that AutoCAD is gonna give me, which is 1. We're gonna go back to the scale in a moment, but after that, AutoCAD is gonna ask me for the insertion of my block and usually give you 0. So I'm gonna press enter for now to accept that 0. We're gonna have to go back again to the rotation. We're gonna customize those two things, scale, rotation, and so on. And so yeah, let's do that. Let's accept those and click OK for now, and let's test what we did so far. So I'm gonna hit apply and OK. All right, so let's click or insert our exit light. Let's click like so, and you can see that now it's asking us to insert or specify an insertion point. Let's say I want to click right here, and boom, our block was inserted. But you can see the block is so tiny. So that's again the scale problem. And you can see also the rotation was just not asked, and we need to rotate it also while inserting. So let's fix those two things. Okay, so let me erase that, and let's go back to the CUI. Let's find our command, and let's expand the macro part. Now for the scale, let's solve the scale problem. You know that we use different viewport sizes on our layout, right? We might have 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and so on. So for that, we need a system variable to always scale our block per our viewport. So the system variable that we're going to use is called dim scale. That's a system variable that we can again use to set up the scale of our block. So how I'm going to do it is insert it after this slash. That's for to specify the insertion point, and after that AutoCAD asks for the scale. So I'm gonna simply paste a piece of code, small piece of code that says get bar, meaning we're gonna get a variable value, in this case dim scale, and that's where we're gonna store again the scale of our drawing based on our viewport. Okay, now for the rotation problem, let's test this before we again confuse you with fixing two things at the same time. We'll get back to the rotation. Let's test the scale. So I'm gonna apply, click OK, and let's select our exit light. Notice that when you have used previously the command, you don't have to click and find the block over here. You can just click straight on the command or the icon from over here. So I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna specify right here, and boom, you can see how immediately the block gets scaled per our needs. In this case, if you check our viewport, let me double click, you can see that our viewport is a 1/8 of an inch scale. So if you have been following the LazyArquitecto, let me show you scale factor chart that we have shared also with you. It's right here. So you can see that at 1/8 scale, the factor for that scale would be 96. Okay, and you can again check your viewport. But the idea is that this block, if we check under the properties, was immediately scaled to 96, which is great, right? And all of that is because our dim scale is set to 96 for our overall drawing. So if you want to change that, you can simply use the dim scale system variable. You can, let's say your viewport is 1/4, so that's 48 scale. You can see here. I know from the top of my head because I've been using this, but if you don't know, 1/8 scale factor 48. Okay, so that means that when I insert my block, you can see that my block is smaller now because it was scaled to the factor of 48. Awesome. Per our dim scale and per our viewport. In this case, I was just testing. Our viewport is not to 1/4, but just so you know. And of course, this one looks much better because it's at the right scale. And this one looks so tiny because it's not at the right scale. Alright, you got the idea. Now, let's put back our dim scale to the correct factor. So dim scale 96, again based on our viewport. Now that we solve the scale problem, let's solve the rotation, because you can see that it's not asking us to rotate our block while inserting it. So let's go back to the CUI. Let's go back and find our exit light. Now, for the rotation, that's the third question that AutoCAD asks when we use the insert command. First, it asks the insertion point. Second, specify a scale. And third, specify the rotation. So, for that rotation, what we can do is, instead of accepting with an enter, or a semicolon in this case that represents an enter, we are gonna say, hey AutoCAD, give me a pause. So the same way we use this slash for an insertion point, I'm gonna use another slash for the rotation, so I can pick my rotation. So let's test that. Click OK, apply, and OK. So let's select this. So let's say I want to insert my block over here, and look what happened. Now I have the option to beautifully pick the rotation of my block, which is what I wanted. So I can now simply move my cursor to the left and click, and boom, my block will be inserted nicely. Great. In the same way, I can keep inserting my block right there, and I can rotate it down like so. Okay, so rotation problem solved. However, there is another problem. Look, the text is not showing horizontal, which is a problem because we need to come back after inserting maybe 30 blocks, come back and fix each of them. And we don't want that. We don't want to manually fix those. Okay? So, there is a command to fix again the rotation of our attributes in this case, because these are attributes, these are not regular text. As you can see, the attribute editor is showing up once you double click on it. But there is a command to fix this. It's called T-orient. So the T-orient will help rotate. If we select our block and press enter, we can click 2 points on our screen, and you can see our text will be rotated, or attributes, sorry. So, but I don't want to do this manually. So let's see how we can include this T-orient inside our command. So let me undo this and maybe erase it. And let's go back to the CUI. Find our exit. Now, before I add the T-orient, there is another important part or important item that I need to take care of. And it is the attribute variables or the attribute settings. Look, your attribute settings might be set to require, or attribute require system variable might be set to different than me, in this case 1. And look what's going to happen when we insert this. So I'm going to click, rotate, and instead of placing my block, it's going to ask me to type in the value. So I'm going to have to type the value, let's say 2. I'm going to have to press enter. For my other value, I'm going to have to pick also, let's say 3 or 4, whatever you need. And then it's going to be able to place it that way. So for that, again, that depends on your needs, but it's important to include that in our command. So in this case, I don't want anything to be asked about the value of the attributes, because 99% of the time, in my case, I need the X and 1 value for my exit lights. So again, let's go back to the CUI and take care of the attribute value so we don't have problems. So for that, before we insert, I'm gonna add the ATT require system variable, and I'm gonna set it to 0 and press enter. That will take care of AutoCAD, and it's not gonna ask me for the values. Again, if you need to, then you can set it to 1. But in my case, 99% of the time, I need X and 1 for my exit light attribute values. So, but there is another system variable also called ATT_dia, and it's similar to the previous one. So let's set that to 0 and press enter. And that will take care again of the attribute values. So let's go now and add the T-orient option to our light. Remember? So the T-orient option will be added, of course, at the end. So I'm going to use the underscore because this is a command. This lets AutoCAD know that a command is coming, and the command will be the T-orient. Now press enter to accept that. Now I need to somehow select my block, right? My exit light block to apply the T-orient. So in this case, I'm going to use the P or previous option and press enter. So that will select the block, the exit block that I just inserted. So the previous option. But for the previous to be accepted, another enter needs to be used. So again, I'm going to press 2 enters to accept the previous selection. And then I need to rotate my block. So the easiest way to rotate is specifying coordinates here in model space. So the coordinates that I'm going to use is 0, 0, because remember when we use T-orient, we need to specify 2 points on our screen. So I'm going to pick the coordinate 0, 0, and then I'm going to press enter to accept the first coordinate, and then we need another coordinate. In this case, I'm going to say 5 and then 0 and press enter. That will click a point and then a horizontal one 5 units next to it. So I'm gonna press enter to accept that, and then I'm gonna press OK. I'm gonna hit apply and test what we did so far. So let's insert our block, and in this case I'm gonna place it right here, rotate it, click, and nope, it's not working, it's not rotating. So let's test it one more time. Let's select here, click, click. We have an error here. It says unknown command 5, 0. So let's see what's going on. So let me expand the F2 key on our keyboard, and let's see. So select object, P, no previous selection, it says. So let me see, T-orient, select text, insert blocks. Nope, it's not working. It's not recognizing the previous selection. So we have a problem here, guys. And that's the beauty of doing this live. You'll encounter this type of problems. So in order to troubleshoot this, I'm gonna run this manually. So I'm gonna say T-orient, let's say P for previous, enter, and you can see no previous selection set. I'm gonna say last, enter, enter. Oh, here we go. It seems like last works. So instead of previous, let's try last. So I'm gonna go back, find my exit, and just do that small change, which is instead of previous, I'm gonna use L for last and click OK. Let's see if that works, guys. So insert, and here you have it. Awesome. As you can see, the T-orient was applied immediately now, and our text or attributes are rotated perfectly. Let's test it one more time. Awesome. Let's say I don't need one here, but let's say I need it. Awesome. Let's say I need one here. Great. So the last thing that I want to do here is, instead of me clicking each time to insert a block, I am gonna add a character to repeat the insertion, so I don't have to manually repeat it. So I'm gonna go back and add this asterisk in the beginning of my code. I'm gonna click OK, and let's do the final test. I'm gonna click here, I'm gonna go back here, and awesome. Let's say I need to insert one here. Awesome. Great, guys. So you can see now how easily I can place my exit lines wherever I need it, and the text or attribute will come nicely. Awesome. All right. So what do you think so far about this custom command that we have created today, which is awesome? You can again apply the same technique, the same principles to insert your blocks quickly and easily, and rotate or keep your attributes always reading nicely while inserting. And of course, this has the advantage also that you can rotate it and the text will always keep horizontal. But now with the advantage of inserting while rotating, it's even more powerful. Here you have it. Let me see on the chat. Let me know in the chat, what do you think about this command? Do you think it's gonna save you time? Again, we were trying to push the limits here of simplifying our life when inserting blocks, and I show you today one of the ways I use. There is a second way also that I like to use, but we'll see that in the future. Let me know what do you think, if you like this type of content or not, then I can maybe show you the second alternative. And we still have 5 minutes to answer your questions if you have one. But yeah, let's see. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm gonna start thinking on our next topic for next Friday, 10 a.m. Let me see. Let me see. What can we do for next week? Maybe we can do color elevation in AutoCAD. There are some folks that have asked for that. AutoCAD interview questions. What about that? Site plan template. Okay. We'll see, guys. We'll see. So if there are no questions, then we're gonna stop right here. But as always, I wanna say something to you, and that is that if you ever feel stressful, right, when working in AutoCAD, or your boss keeps asking, hey, why things take so long? You might not be using the fastest methods. There is a better way to work. So join our community, the LazyArquitectos. It's a membership where I share everything I create: macros, dynamic blocks, template drawings, and so on, like the macro that we created today with the block. So with no limits, if you saw it on YouTube, you'll have full access inside. So check it out at lazyarquitecto.com/members. All right, I'll see you here next Friday. Bye bye.